What's going on, guys? This is Mikeinoid, and today we're going to talk about iCarly on the Nintendo DS. I watched a lot of Nickelodeon as a kid. Of course, I watched the cartoons like SpongeBob and Fairly OddParents, but my favorite shows were the sitcoms like Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, Victorious, that soap opera House of Anubis, even that one show Bucket and Skinner, and most importantly, iCarly. I couldn't possibly tell you how many hours I spent watching this show. It was honestly an after-school ritual. For those who don't know about iCarly, the show is about a girl named Carly Shay who lives with her older brother Spencer that runs a web show called iCarly with her two best friends Sam and Freddy. The show follows these four characters and later Gibby on wacky adventures and predicaments and forced love triangles. God, teenagers, am I right? iCarly was Nickelodeon's most popular show. I mean, they had a bunch of celebrity guest stars like One Direction, Emma Stone, Jack Black, the Plain White T's, Jimmy Fallon. Oh, who else? I don't know, former First Lady Michelle Obama. This show was a huge success for the time. Thanks to the rise of the internet, more specifically YouTube, people making homemade videos was starting to become a trend, and a show that is basically about kids making their own show on the internet, I mean, it blew up. And just like any popular TV show or movie back in the 2000s, it got some video games. So let's go ahead and bust out our trusty Nintendo DS and try out iCarly. iCarly for the Nintendo DS was developed by Humansoft and published by Activision, released on October 27th of 2009. Videos that the iCarly gang used for the web show are being deleted by Neville, so you need to play a series of minigames to make up a full webisode. I'm not quite sure how the characters really interacted in this game. I mean, there's text boxes implying that they're in a chat room, but the context of the story and the voice acting implies that they're talking in person. Just pick your username for your save file and then you'll be able to play through 5 webisodes, each with 6 minigames to play through. The minigames start out with referencing iCarly episodes really well, like finding baby chicks, celebrating Sniffmas, painting a sculpture, and stopping hooligans from eating the last coconut cream pie. As the story goes on, the minigames start to repeat with some variations to make them more challenging. The pie becomes a bowl of chips and ice cream, the baby chicks become frogs, and popping pimples with a claw machine? Oh my, that's just plain gross, man. As you progress, you will receive wacky emails of some tips on how to play each minigame, or just some random jokes. Depending on how well you complete each minigame, you can receive up to 3 stars. You'll be able to spend stars on props for the iCarly studio, and swap out gameplay objects for each of the minigames. Once you beat this annoying maze puzzle in Webisode 5, you completed the main story. If you're a chump with a regular DS. You see, if you play this game on a DSi, you'll have access to some bonus features, which is Webisode 6. There's no dialogue to this one, you just start playing minigames that use the DSi's camera and microphone. Find the colors? F that, I'm googling them. Copy the instrument. If you want, you can play each minigame by themselves in quick play, or challenge yourself by going through a gauntlet of them while earning a certain amount of stars in iBreak Records mode. And if you like to play this game with someone else, I mean, you can. This was a pretty simple game with a good amount of references to the show, and with full-on voice acting from the actual iCarly cast. The minigames are okay, I just feel like they just repeated so much, you just get bored of it quickly. I mean, good news is you can beat it within an hour if you don't care about getting all the stars. But that's going to be it for today's... Wait, they made a second one? iCarly 2 iJoin the Click was published by Activision again, but developed by Big Blue Bubble and released on November 16th of 2010. Big Blue Bubble also developed iCarly iDream and Tunes for Windows, so they've had a little bit of experience in the iCarly field. This ain't even in Tunes, these are just pictures of the real set. Oh, now they're in Tunes. So I'm just kind of expecting much of the same game as the first one, but with more minigames and a new story. Wait, what the f is that? So iCarly 2 is not a minigame frenzy like the first game. It's a Sims game. You play as the new kid in town that's a huge fan of iCarly, and of course, you meet Carly and Sam at Ridgeway, where you are invited to help out with the show. Depending on the personality you pick when starting the game, your character will have a certain look. For example, I picked Art and the color red, so now my character has a red mohawk. I know, ladies, please, one at a time. The main cast of the show, Carly, Sam, Freddy, Spencer, and Gibby, have voice lines, but everyone else is blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's kind of cool. Most of the time when you talk to the cast, they just say quotes from the show.
Last night, I slept in my socks. Just my socks.
Are you trying to make a move on me, Freddy? Once a week, you'll do iCarly by doing this weird ball game. You just need to aim the ball and shoot to hit all the other balls to determine how well the show does. You'll be able to spend the points you earn on segments you want Carly and Sam to perform. How the hell is she swinging on a vine? When you're not doing the show, you'll be running around town talking to people, doing quests, going to school, and buying props for your room and the iCarly studio. Oh wow, Spencer gave me an item finder. Bruh, this thing is huge. The game advertises that you can go to over 20 locations from the show, like the infamous pet store and the arcade and even the post office. Yeah, I watched the whole show and the iCarly gang never gone to any of these spots. Speaking of the post office though, you can redeem secret codes for unique items. The codes actually came from a line of iCarly toys from Playmates. Of course, these toys are collectible now and go for a pretty hefty price, but you can find some of the codes online, like this one for the I Fight Shelby Marks outfit. Honestly, there were probably codes for the first game as well, but I couldn't find them. And just like the first iCarly game, there are some DSi features like taking a picture with the camera and wearing it on a t-shirt. Somehow the quality of the picture is good and bad at the same time. So yeah, this game's a bit rough. It's definitely more engaging than the first one, and I like how the NPCs are actual characters that have showed up in the show before, but it's a bit too slow for me. The first main goal is to get 10,000 fans on the web show, so you'll be going through about 4 to 5 weeks in the game, just running around with your item finder and friending everyone on the in-your-face pages. Of course, you can just skip all that and go to sleep till each day of the web show, which will take over an hour, but then you'll have to get 20,000 fans. You'll beat the game once you recruited 50,000 fans. And yeah, it takes a long time to do. Good thing you're finally done when you get all the items. Oh, hell nah. I think I liked iCarly 2 more than the first one. There's more substance to it, and it's filled with a lot more references. If the game was a bit more polished and had a more engaging minigame than the ball puzzle, I'd say this would be a pretty solid title. But anyways, now that's going to be... Oh my, there's another one? See, I knew these two were a thing, but I've never heard of iCarly Groovy Foodie. This is the third game of the iCarly DS games, even though they didn't even bother putting the number in the title. Groovy Foodie was developed by WayForward and published by D3 Publisher and released on June 12th of 2012. It's also interesting to note that the first 2 iCarly games also came out for the Wii. They were pretty much the same games, just with minigames fit for the console. However, Groovy Foodie is a DS exclusive with no DSi bonus features. Bro, you even get a whole ass poster with it. Groovy Foodie is basically an action puzzle game where you play as Carly and Sam as they feed their city with wacky food dishes, trying to finish out their community service. Oh yeah, and Freddy is just narrating the story. The gameplay is pretty simple. You have Sam cook up some yummy food, and Carly will serve the patron. Depending on the patron, they will have a certain appetite and quirk to make the game more challenging, so you'll need to serve a variety of foods like spaghetti tacos, fat cakes and fat shakes, magic meatballs, fudge balls. They even have the donuts on a stick, placed incorrectly. I mean, that's such a nice touch. The goal is to serve everyone without leaving 3 people unsatisfied, or Carly and Sam will go to jail. Besides the different types of food, you can have some support like random dancing, a strobe light, Spencer, and shirtless Gibby. You can get these upgrades and more food in the Gibby shop using bacon bucks you earn from the levels. Speaking of which, there are 5 worlds to go through, each with 5 levels and a boss fight. Boss fights feature popular iCarly characters such as T-Bow, Neville, Miss Briggs, the Shadow Hammer, and Lubert. And honestly, that's pretty much the game. You can go back to levels in quick play and earn achievements throughout the playthrough, which is pretty cool. I'd say this is easily the best iCarly game of the three. The music is catchy, the art style is cute, and most importantly, the gameplay is so fun it's addicting. I literally played through the game twice to unlock all 25 food items. Groovy Foodie doesn't have any voice acting besides Carly celebrating at the end of each level, but that's okay. I mean, I just really enjoyed this game. So usually video games based off of TV shows and movies generally are considered shovelware. iCarly on the DS though, it's still kind of shovelware. iCarly Groovy Foodie is unironically good as a fun puzzle game. iCarly 2 iJoin the Click is ironically good with the terrible looking character models and interesting items in a Sims game, and iCarly the game is just meh. I have a soft spot for this show though, and I'm a sucker for all the references each game has, so I had my fair share of enjoyment from all three titles. Of course, you can find all three of these games for dirt cheap. I'm pretty sure they're just collecting dust at your local retro game store. It's hard to recommend the actual show though if you didn't watch it as a kid. I feel like it's just something you have to grow up with to appreciate. But if you have the free time, it probably wouldn't hurt to watch a couple of episodes. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think of iCarly on the DS down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Oh boy, I hope the Paramount Plus iCarly gets a Switch game.